Hello, everyone. It is Misha Green, DC editor, back again. I know y'all are probably tired of me, but that's okay because you got me. But I'm here with Professor Eleanor Earl, who is the founder of All Roads Lead to Africa. And I have so many questions for her today about everything about All Roads Lead to Africa, about what she is up to in educating the young peoples
Great.
and all of the above. But you guys know the drill. Sharing is caring. We have to share the stream because the people need to know this good information and how all roads lead to Africa, and how we can have these amazing partnerships with our brothers and sisters on the continent that we all come from. So let's go ahead and make sure that we share the stream, and then we will get started.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. And Wednesday is our publishing day. Okay. So it's always a crazy day for us, but I talk to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, Wednesday is my craziest day." So I really appreciate you taking the time out to be with us today. And of course, I want to thank the viewers for tuning in as well, and being with us today. How are you doing? We're still in the middle of a pandemic. How are you feeling?
Are we in a pandemic? Really? No, I'm being facetious, of course. Yeah.
What's happening?
It has been a surreal experience for all of us. But what's really interesting is out of this time, something like All Roads Lead to Africa has been birthed out of this unique moment in time where we were all forced to pause, to reflect, and to determine what things are most important to us, or what are some things that we'd like to know more about. And that's what, in fact, has happened to me and with me during this time.
It's so wonderful to hear all of the strong and optimistic and inspiring stories that's come out of these really hard times. And it sounds like All Roads Lead to Africa is one of those stories. But before we even get into it, can you tell the people a little bit about who Professor Eleanor Earl is, what your background is, and how you got to the point of being, as my colleague, our news editor, Jessica George said, a dope professor?
Oh, I think that's like the best compliment ever. Thank you for telling me that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you. So, gosh, and thanks, Jessica, for that. Well, I've had what I call an interesting and a circuitous journey to where I am right now. And meaning that I grew up in my wonderful town of Portsmouth, Virginia, is where I was born, and lived all over Hampton Roads since then. And ultimately went away to school, went to the University of Virginia for school, and thought at that time that I was going to be both an opera singer and an attorney. Yes, I really did think that was going to be my path.
I see it for you. I understand why you thought that was going to be a part of your journey.
Yes, I thought that was going to be it. However, once I arrived there, I was able to pursue things in music and do really great things there that I enjoyed, and that helped prepare me for some of the things that came later. But I realized, well, you know what? I really have a greater interest in the humanities and continuing with the arts. So I went on from there to graduate school at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, came back home. It's like, okay, I'm going to get a master's in humanities. From pursuing that with an emphasis in theater, English lit, and communication, I was really interested in being able to synthesize these varied interests, right, into a course of study. And it just so happened there was the study abroad program that was called the Institute for Scholars in International Studies, held at Oxford University in England. I ended up being accepted into that program and was able to accelerate my studies at ODU. So I completed the MA in humanities in 1 year's time, which it was kind of like, oh, okay. And it was a wonderful experience. And that was when I first encountered members of the African diaspora, when I went over, and while I was at St. Anne's College, I'd go into London and I'd meet all these really cool people of African descent who were from all parts of Africa and who were born and raised in the UK, but still had a great sense of their cultural history and all. And that sparked it all. And then from there, I left, came back and graduated from ODU and decided, you know what? I think I want to go to New York. So I applied to NYU for an MFA to get another master's degree and to go and just really immerse myself into the art and culture scene there. Ended up in NYU, had an amazing time, and I met even more members of the African diaspora, stayed in touch with those in London, made a few trips back and forth, and gosh, it's brought me full circle. From New York, I moved to LA. I decided, you know what? I want to go to Los Angeles and explore the world of film and television and see how I can connect some of these dots. So I moved to Los Angeles, ended up there for 6 years. I started my company there, Eleanor Earl Entertainment and Enterprises, managed talent, had a limited partnership opportunity, joint venture deal with Shaka Khan's company that was facilitated by amazing mentors like Andre and Sandra Crouch, just wonderful people who blessed me with some really great opportunities. Managed Ronaldo Ray, the comic and actor, for a while, did a lot of different things. But again, I kept running into these amazing people of African descent and for a part of the African diaspora. I started collaborating with folks while I was there. And then the call came to return back home. At the time, my mother wasn't doing very well. And you make the decision, am I going to hang out here and keep doing what I'm doing or head back home? I made the great decision of returning to Virginia. When I did, I started working at Hampton University, wonderful HBCU, the best in all the West, right? And have enjoyed being there for quite a few years now, working with students. And I serve as the director of the Film Studies program, which is housed in the Department of English and Foreign Languages. So I hope that was a little quick tour of that circuitous journey I mentioned.
That was an amazing tour. I was loving all of the highlights and watching all of the moments as if I was there. That and I'm waiting for the book on that, because
Oh, well, gee, that's sweet of you.
that is truly a fun and inspiring journey, it sounds like, and one that I think a lot of people can be inspired by. So now you are also, first of all, entrepreneurship is not new to you at all, it sounds like. And it sounds like your company in LA sort of was able to lay the foundation, as well as your background in the arts and humanities. But tell us how you got to All Roads Lead to Africa.
Happy to do so. Well, like I said, all along this journey, these seeds have been planted where I just have this really great affinity for all people who come from the continent and all things related to it. But ultimately, again, over this period of time during COVID, since last March, I was forced to, like everyone else, be online a lot more than I ordinarily would have been. And much to my surprise and delight, I came across, and someone came across me, this wonderful organization called the Bridge Zone. And the website is thebridgezone.org. And this wonderful organization helps to facilitate the coming together, the reconnecting of members of the African diaspora spread out all over the world, and especially focusing also on those of us here in the US, and bringing them together and to have a greater understanding of one another. And in addition to that, to facilitate the actual physical return to the continents. Many of us have not had that experience yet. So this company helps to put together a special tours and all for whomever wants to go. But in addition to that, they assist with purchasing real estate. There are many people who have an interest in being able to have like a second home. But also, most importantly, when I discovered this company and its founder, Prince Anthony Bart Appiah, he's just passionate about this. He wants to bring us all together. And, you know, I had a very frank, it was an amazing, frank conversation regarding the truth of the matter, which is that we may not really understand each other as well as we'd like to. And, you know, it's not something that we kind of talk about publicly so much, that perhaps people don't have the best image of Africa. Many people still don't realize how modern and amazing it is. They're still kind of holding on to these old dated images that are inaccurate from the continent. And it's really important to he and many others to correct that. And I'm very interested in knowing the truth of what is this and all the wonderful opportunities and great ways that we might be able to collaborate and strengthen one another. So he asked me ultimately if I would be interested in co-producing and moderating a masterclass, a virtual masterclass. It was in September of 2020.
Wow.
And if I could help bring some people from the industry and all for that panel. I'm very happy to say that we worked very diligently together along with the Ghana Tourism Authority, who co-signed this opportunity. And I should indicate that Prince Anthony had definitely been doing master classes all along and having amazing guests, but this one was to be extra special with even more people. So we had people like Shelby Stone, an Emmy Award-winning producer of things like Lackawanna Blues, Boycott movie, TV series and things like The Chai and other things. She's amazing. And she's also president of Commons Production Company. We also had Baron Davis, the two-time NBA All-Star, who's also an entrepreneur and also has a great affinity for Africa. We had the wonderful actor Lamont Rucker, and it goes on and on. It was like a panel of just real all-stars who had an interest in being able to talk about how might we be able to tell our collective stories and be able to come together in Ghana specifically to do so. So the theme for that particular event was titled Black Stories Matter, and being very specific about it. And it was also during all the social unrest and coming out of all that. So it was really important to us that we send a message that, look, we can come together collectively to tell powerful stories that can rather help counter some of the negative images that are out there, that can educate people, that can inspire people. And so let's explore, how do we do that? How do we build a bridge of understanding and cross-cultural collaboration?
Wow. Wow. I mean, I think that's so amazing. And in building this bridge, in having this cross-cultural collaboration thus far, what are some of the things that you've been able to find and learn and help you grow?
That is a fabulous question, because ultimately it does start with the individual. And if you can have a meaningful experience as an individual, then you're going to want to have that spread and have others have that experience. So for me, it's been so incredible to learn that there are so many languages across the continent. Gosh, it's just like unbelievable. And then that all of the different, in terms of fashion, because that's one of the areas we're focusing on too, that every type of fabric that exists there, there's meaning to the fabrics. There's meanings related to the designs within the fabric, like every minute detail. Additionally, the rich history in terms of coming to grips with, yes, there's very difficult history that we have to process as to how we ended up here as African Americans on the continent. But there's a great desire, what I've learned, a great desire amongst the beautiful people of the continent to heal those wounds and to move forward in a glorious manner together, that we all genuinely feel that we can do great things with one another. And that has been huge for me.
I love it. Oh, so inspiring. So you have these all-stars who have come along for the ride and gotten on board and understand the importance. You're having these inspiring experiences and these cross-cultural conversations and moments. And now, All Roads Lead to Africa has this concert series. Tell us about that and how we can be a part of it.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It's in its formative stages. All of this, that's the broader idea of being able to provide master classes ultimately and things like that in different areas. But the concert series is what we plan to commence the initiative of All Roads Leads to Africa with, as you said. RJ Bukaria, who is CEO of Prolific Media Holdings, is amazing. He was another person who said yes when I asked him to be a part of that masterclass.
Mhm.
And he's also an investor and all, and owns technical companies, things in tech, but also the music business, film, TV, etc. So he just decided that he really believed in this so much that he's willing to collaborate and come on board to help with the technological piece, because you need a platform, right, that's going to be able to handle something like that. And they're already up and running and doing great things. And so that was just like a key piece. So what we're doing now, we're in talks with various talent, some of whom I can't mention at this moment just because we're in the formative stages, but I can mention two that are really awesome. Talking with the manager for Infinity Song, which are on the Rock Nation / Peace Industry Music Group label, and they are amazing. And so looking forward to being able to work things out, to have them participate. And also Earl Sweatshirt's manager, and talks with her regarding his participation, and that's super exciting. And there will be many, many others. So again, I'm sorry I can only tease you with those two right now.
Those are some
But
those are really good teasings.
well, I'm so glad. And we're looking forward to continuing those talks and figuring out a way to make that happen along with others. So the ultimate goal is to have collaborations with African artists and artists from the diaspora, starting with those in the US market, and have them collaborate on an original piece of content together that we'll then share, and then be able to do the live concerts with them together, either on the continent or here in the US. And we'll ultimately go back and forth, in terms of the locations of where this will actually take place. So super excited.
It's so exciting. Wow. So why is this important? Why is this cultural exchange important for uh, people as viewers, but also artists, and in particular American artists who the whole world looks to for advice and inspiration?
Well, we've seen something wonderful. This spark has already started, and it's actually been going on for many years. If we look back historically to music and some of the collaborations along the way, it's an opportunity for people through art to better understand one another. There's something about when we share in this exchange creatively, it is something that gives us an opportunity to realize, okay, the common denominator here is creative arts, and we can meet in the middle, create something amazing, and share and exchange our ideas. We may not agree on everything, but we're going to find a way through this art to communicate some of our ideas and all. And ultimately, I think with what we experienced during this pandemic, and with the social injustices that we've witnessed, it was very transformative in terms of, for everyone around the world, just saying, wow, the George Floyd situation, specifically Breonna Taylor and many others, but saying, wow, we have a lot in common. We need to do something about this. It's a desire to say, come together and make a difference. So through the art, that's part of what our goal is with All Roads Lead to Africa, is to utilize the art to bring people together, to talk about some of these things that exist in the world, to ameliorate them by coming together, generating economic development, also empowering artists economically. That is something that is very important, and specifically to the continent, making sure that these artists are making the money that they should from streaming concerts and all, so that it's a domino effect, isn't it? That if they're work does well and they're able to reach a broader audience and they are able to become better known here in the mainstream, because as you mentioned, ultimately it's an artist's goal to be known in the US and in the US market. That still remains true. But there are US artists who really want that global experience. They would like for people even more around the world to experience their work. And of course, we know with online and all the streaming, that has been a great way. But with this concerted effort with All Roads Lead to Africa, we can reach even more people and help them reach their goals.
That is so wonderful. Thinking about uh, the ability to have a sense of togetherness during this time where we've been apart, I think is really inspiring. All right, so I see there's a lot of people tuning in and showing love, and I really, really appreciate that. Thank you guys for doing that. And remember, share the stream. Sharing is caring. And so we want people to know this information. And so make sure you go ahead and share the stream. I'm also going to give you guys an opportunity to throw some questions down here for Professor Earl and everything that she's doing, as well as questions about All Roads Lead to Africa. Go ahead and throw it in the comments, and I will try to get to you. Let's see who's tuning in thus far. Petty Rich says, Afrocentric unity is growing. Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. And we see you, Tiffany and Terry.
Hi there, Tiffany and Terry.
And here is Tamika Whitmore, who says, Eleanor Earl, you rock.
Oh, it's Tamika who rocks, but thank you, sis. Hi.
I love it. I love all this Black girl magic. Sherry Thompson.
She's amazing. Hi, Sherry.
And Mariah Lisette is also happening.
Oh, can I pause and just tell you, thank you, Mariah Lisette and her wonderful company and partner, Europe of Prime Culture. They helped facilitate this opportunity. And she, too, is a former student of mine and amazing, doing great things.
Wow, that is so awesome.
I love her, too.
That is so cool that you now have the opportunity to work with your former students and collaborate.
Amazing. I'm so proud of them. I'm telling you, I have to digress just to say that's just that whole paying it forward and seeing them do great things. Jessica Dortch also, who's a part of Afro News, really appreciate her. Yeah. And it's just beautiful.
Well, again, I think that it's a testament to who you are, that your students are out and thriving, but also that you all can still collaborate and learn from one another. That is such a blessing. Eleanor is a wealth of information. I'm so proud to call her my sister. Oh,
Mr. Cyrus, thank you, sir. You're amazing.
I love it. The love is real. For Professor Earl. So I got to ask you, what does all of this amazing work with All Roads Lead to Africa mean for your work in education?
It's a beautiful thing when you can figure out a way to synthesize all these different interests, because that's been the challenge, but a welcome challenge over the years for me, because I'm interested in technology and literature and music and fashion, all these different things. So the beauty is that through education, you can bring all of them together. So this takes me back to Asante Bradford, a program manager for innovation and all for the state of Georgia. And we decided to come together, and this is another part of All Roads Lead to Africa, to do an exchange program that's ultimately going to help provide artists and all in Accra to start. We're calling it Atlanta to Accra. And yes. And so with that exchange program, which is going to take a little time due to COVID and all to get going, but we'll be able to have an exchange of educational opportunities. Like for instance, the Mad Twins, Mike and Mark Davis, who have done animation for, a number that like Blackish, all the great animation you see on the TV show Blackish comes from them and their team, and from many other projects with DreamWorks and other Sony and others. They are going to be doing masterclasses, imagine workshops with the top of the line animators in the business. And, there's a booming animation industry in Africa, on the continent, and also specifically in Ghana. So we're looking for that. Ultimately, we'll have an online platform with all the different areas of interest, again, to include technology, animation, film, television, fashion, etc., online to start, so that the educational piece is definitely there, and it's a huge part of who I am and will remain a part of what I do even as an entrepreneur, in being able to offer an online platform as well for education.
I love it. I love it. And again, I think just pushing and emphasizing the importance of the cross-cultural connections, and how much we can learn from one another, I think is super cool. So how can the people tap in and follow and support and be connected with All Roads Lead to Africa?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. Thank you for asking. Ultimately, we are looking to start a podcast. We're actually going to be launching on Clubhouse, just as an initial start, where people can come. Clubhouse is fun, isn't it? It's a great platform to get conversations going. We're going to start there, and people can follow me on there, and also IG, All Roads Lead to Africa. We can connect there on Instagram at this juncture. And also, please feel free to reach out to the Bridge Zone, because again, the Bridge Zone is a core part of this partnership. So the bridgezone.org, to reach out there as well in order to participate in some way with All Roads Lead to Africa. And additionally, it would be remiss of me not to say that Asante Bradford also, again, I just can't thank him enough for being a person who really understands this whole journey, and being American, and really wanting to somehow reconnect with the continent, because it would be wrong of me not to just share. It's so important for ultimately coming to understand oneself even better. Like, I feel like I'm on this also spiritual side of a journey. There's the business part, which is always foremost for me. Like, I'm like, what's the bottom line? What's going to be the ROI? All those things.
Right.
But ultimately, in terms of our personal and emotional development and all these people, Asante Bradford and I have had some amazing conversations about why it's so important to make this happen. And the fact that he was willing to connect the state of Georgia to this effort, and their Center for Innovation and all. I just want to make sure I thank him. And then E2 Evans is a designer who's going to be, when we get back to talking about fabric and what all those fabrics mean, and he's someone who is internationally known in fashion, and will be able to help push that knowledge forward as well. I just want to make sure there's no one that I've missed, because they're all so amazing.
Well, I just love the collaborative effort that seems to have been in the forefront of making this happen. Of course, we know that all of the arts takes collaboration, but when you're combining art, technology, education, travel,
Most definitely.
and the likes, it can be very, very difficult. And you have seemed to do this in such an effective and really exciting way. So congratulations again.
Thank you so very much. We're looking forward to this journey, because it will be an extended journey. So join us on the journey.
Look, we are all about the journey. Okay, my last final question, and again, thank you to all those tapping in. We really, really appreciate it. But if you can just leave us with a little bit of inspiration. You were able to, begin this pretty quickly. Obviously you had a lot that prepared you to this point. When you said you were doing that, helped organize that masterclass September 2020, I was like counting in my head how fast this has happened for you. Can you share a little bit of inspiration with us as we're still in the house and figuring out life and figuring out next steps, how we can take some of those next steps and find different paths in our journey?
Most definitely. There's nothing like the solitude of being with oneself. Those solitary moments can birth some of the greatest inspiration. Sometimes we just need to be still and listen to what's being generated in the message that's coming even from yourself. Sometimes we're so busy, and I am definitely guilty of that. But I was forced to do that, and I started writing more, which was something that was a luxury because I was always too busy to even start. And I just started journaling a bit more and saying, okay, well, what's important to me? That became the biggest question. What's important to me now at this moment, now that the earth has shifted in this major way? I would say to people that this has been a Twilight Zone-esque moment. And, in Twilight Zone, you're figuring out, okay, what's real, what isn't, how am I going to move forward? So as I started pondering those questions, what matters now, what is important to me, and writing those things down, it was really very powerful for me. And it helped in pushing me in this direction to even be open to receive the opportunity to start talking about things like this, and for something. And you're right, everything happened with lightning speed. Prince Anthony bought Appia, again, of the Bridge Zone, and our early conversations turned quickly into a huge masterclass. And it was part of the Beyond the Return series that the government has supported, and the Ghana Tourism Authority and all, which is all about bringing everyone back together again. And it was very moving to me. So I was like, wow, this is important to me. This is really important to me. So in answer to that question, so you have to pose the question to yourself about what really matters to you, what's important now, where do you see yourself in the next, we hear this all the time, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. Well, guess what? One should really think about that. And more so than ever, even in the next year, we see so much can change in just a year's time. So definitely take the time to reflect, answer the tough questions of what matters, what is going to move the needle forward in your life, and how can you make a difference in this world. We see more than ever that is something that's really needed. We need individuals to care about those things that really matter in order to move things forward in a positive direction. It's not over yet. There are wonderful things ahead for all of us, and we have to continue to look for them every day within ourselves.
Y'all, this is why she is the dope Professor Eleanor
Oh,
Earl.
you're so sweet.
Tell you guys how good she is. So she can't see this, but someone has asked a question about the year of return as she was answering her question about giving us inspiration. But then she she webbed that in, not knowing that she was weaving in an answer to our last question.
That's
Good.
that's awesome. God is good. Okay.
Good all the time.
Yes.
I really appreciate you, Professor Earl, for being here today.
Thank you.
Congratulations on All Roads Lead to Africa and the whole team that made it possible. The Afro is definitely cheering you on. We want to be a part of it and follow the journey, and we definitely will be doing so. Thanks to all those who tuned in. And remember, Black Lives Matter. Wear your mask.
Yes.
And your hands.
100%. Thank you so much, Misha Green. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.